Hi everyone, today is the launch of the Age of Empires 2 Return of Rome content creator preview event. So I'd just like to begin by thanking World's Edge for providing me with a key for this so I can bring you this awesome content. So in this video we're looking at 10 things to know before playing Return of Rome. So when you open up the game you may be wondering, where the hell is my scout? Well, we don't have one in Age of Empires 1. You just got to use one of your villagers to do the scouting, find all your resources and so on, which makes sense. There weren't horse riding back in the Stone Age. The next thing you'll notice is there are no sheep. There's no herdables in Age of Empires 1, which makes the start a little bit challenging, that is for sure. Next we have houses. Houses cost a little bit more than they do in Age of Empires 2, so these cost 30 wood rather than 25, and they only provide 4 population space, so you're going to have to be really careful with your population limit, making sure that you don't get a house, so do make sure you're making plenty of houses. Next thing we're going to look at is starting resources. So as you can see, we start off with 200 wood, 200 food, 0 gold and 150 stone. In terms of the resources around the town centre, so I've already mentioned that there's no starting sheep. We do have elephants occasionally dotted around the perimeter of your base. However, there is quite a distance to get to them, so you might struggle to find them, but we do have 8 gazelle which are quite close to your base, so you should be okay collecting those. We do have a starting berry patch, so they have 150 food on each berry bush, a little bit more than we have in Age of Empires 2, and the gazelle have 150 food on as well, so there's more than enough food on those 8 gazelle. We've also got one big patch of gold, all of which have got 500 gold on them, and we also have a little patch of stone which have all got 350 stone on as well. In terms of build orders, I think from what I can gather in the past it's more looking at fast tool age build orders or fast bronze age build orders, not necessarily strategy specific build orders. So for example, if we wanted to go for an axeman rush or we wanted to go for a slinger rush, the initial Stone Age build is pretty much exactly the same because it's that fast tool age rush. It does alter slightly once you get to the tool age, but certainly the initial build you should be absolutely fine with. So build orders are quite tricky to do in Age of Empires 1 because of how the resources are. You drop off buildings cost 120 wood for each one, so when we've only got 200 starting wood and we're having to make houses a lot more often, you'll often find that build orders start off with taking the straggler trees because you're going to need what wood you have got for houses and a granary. But we do have some build order guides coming, so do keep your eyes open for those. And also, if you do enjoy the Age of Empires 2 content that you get here over at Morning Games, then do consider subscribing. We do have a target of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're probably on course for about 9,000, 9,500 at the moment, so do consider subscribing. But let's have a look at the next point. Unit and eco upgrades. So works pretty differently to how we have it in Age of Empires 2. So there's no blacksmith. All of your most of your unit upgrades are researched at the storage pit. So the storage pit, as we've already discovered, is where you would drop off most of your resources, apart from berries and farms. But you also get extra upgrades in the market, which you can get in the tool age. That's also where you would research all of your eco upgrades as well. So if we have a look at the stone mining, for example, stone mining research increases the carry capacity, but it also gives slingers 1 attack and range. The woodworking tech will provide extra carry capacity for wood, but gives the archers +1 range. Now it does say missile weapon range, so that might include slingers as well. You can also get other upgrades in the government centre, which is essentially the university that we have in Age of Empires 2. So there's things such as nobility, where cavalry will get plus 15% hit points. And there's a few other ones involved in there, but I'll leave you to have a look at those. So that brings me on to a little bit about farms. Farms cost 75 wood, so a bit more expensive than they are in Age of Empires 2. They're not available in the Dark Age, so you can only unlock those once you've built the market in the Tool Age. But essentially nowadays they work exactly the same as they do in Age of Empires 2. Next up we've got fortifications. So we can have fortifications in Age of Empires 1, however they don't come until the Tool Age, and that's only provided you have a granary. You will need to research all of these as well. So for example, small walls, you need to spend 50 food to be able to start making walls. You'll also have gates and watchtowers as well that you can make, but again, relevant research for those individually as well. All of those cost 50 food. Those can also be upgraded in the next stage. They'll have a little bit of a stone cost attached to them, and again in the Iron Age there. And we get ballista towers, which are a bit like your bombard towers in Age of Empires 2. So next up we've got Hunt. As I did mention earlier, we do have lots of gazelle. They are very skittish is probably the word I would use. So they do scare a little bit, very easily, and they run for miles. You can push them with the villagers, but it's quite difficult to do. So sometimes it might be useful just to kill them off. You'll see we can lure elephants. It's not quite as easy as it is in Age of Empires 2. You do have to continually keep attacking them every now and then because they do lose aggro. So you just got to keep on momentarily shooting them to be able to lure them in, but they are easier to kill off and they're very slow, but they do have 300 food on them, so it is very much worth luring them back to your town centre if you can. So the final thing we're going to look at is how to access Return of Rome. As you can see, we do have this little column on the left hand side of the main menu for Age of Empires 2. Click on Return of Rome and it will switch your game into a new game mode for the DLC. So it's essentially loading up Age of Empires 1 here, and as we can see we've got single player, multiplayer. There's no editor on there at the moment. That's actually in the single player menu, and as you can see we can't access campaigns. In multiplayer there's nothing there at the moment in terms of a button for ranked play, ranked queues. However, it probably will come, or it'll come via these custom lobbies. Very much like Age of Empires 2 HD edition, so unfavorably. But we can see here in terms of host a game, at the moment it's saying click to start an unranked multiplayer lobby which people can join. You can choose the game settings, or it says create and join unranked casual custom games. So that would indicate that there is probably going to be a ranked queue coming, and lobbies are just going to be for unranked. So we'll see what happens with that one. But that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.